That's right. We are jumping right into the show because how can the Broncos move the ball against the Browns defense? It's more than just running the ball. I think there's a change of personnel they should examine. More on that. But first, it's Black Friday, special edition of Orange and Blue today. Cecil Lammy, Andrew Mason.
So we're wearing black.
Yes, exactly. And we're doing a show we weren't scheduled to do. Sorry if we get in trouble, but we have too much to say, Mace, including about the Black Friday game.
Yeah, let's touch on that for a minute because, first of all, it's another Nathaniel Hackett masterclass that obviously we know around here very well. Once again, the Jets only get one offensive touchdown. But Cecil, I saw something today, and I think most of the audience saw something today that they've never seen before. A pick six on a Hail Mary. Jets at the end of the first half, Tim Boyle lobs it up. Dolphins run it 99 yards back. If you watch the All 22, which if you watch the Prime Vision broadcast, as I like to do for the Amazon broadcast, you can see where everyone's going. There was a little quiet quitting, I thought, in terms of trying to chase down the returner on that play. And hey, I'll admit, I know a little bit about quiet quitting. I quiet quit in one job. I feel that I was justified in doing so because I was pulled off an assignment without being told, and I found out literally when they were shooting the video and I wasn't a part of it. And then the two people who would have been responsible for the decision to pull me off, one said, no, it was the other person. The other said, no, it was that person. So on top of that, I got lied to. You know what? I'll say it. It was the last time I worked for the Broncos, my last stint. The people who did that, they're not there anymore. They're not with the team anymore, so that's good. But, yeah, that was a big part of the reason why I left the Broncos.
Well, and it's
I don't like
how
being
you feel,
jerked
right?
around. Yeah.
The Jets, how do you think those players feel, right?
Yeah.
Offense and defense.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about it in the media room over at Broncos HQ because we were monitoring the game, obviously. The Jets have to go back to Miami in a few weeks. I would not be surprised if there is a massive number that's going to be laid on the Jets defense at some point because what actually kept the game viable for a while was the Jets themselves had a pick six not long before the Hail Mary pick six. It was 10-6 there right before that Hail Mary attempt at the end of the first half. It's just, I mean, what a mess. Now you look back on it, Cease, and you're like, how did the Broncos lose to this Jets team? How?
Right.
That if the Broncos missed the playoffs by one game, you can point to the Raiders game to start the season. Yes, you can point to the Washington game week 2. And I think the Jets game is going to be right alongside there in terms of how on God's green earth did we lose that game?
Yeah, interconference games and interdivision games. The Washington one's a little further down the list, but certainly, man. But this team seems a little different because they've been running the ball, Mace. But I've dug into the film and the numbers because we think, hey, the line's been stacked against Javonte. That's actually quite untrue. When it comes to stacked boxes for Javonte, he's roughly about 20% on the season. And I don't want to get into semantics, but let's just say it's 8 men in the box or more.
Yeah.
He's not really seeing that. Most of the time on 56% of his carries, he's seen 7 or less in the box. Not a light box, but that's Jalil. So it comes down to Javonte being more effective or Mace maybe just using Samaje a little bit more. He can do more than be the closer.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see how things work on Sunday because this is a game where, for the most part, I think the Broncos are going to try to pound it on the ground and play a tempo game. There could be some opportunities for deep shots with Denzel Ward not playing for the Browns. Jerry Jeudy in the locker room said, hey, it doesn't really change all that much about what we're trying to do, but you're going to try to take advantage of that. But that's off of play action primarily, right? That's when you're going to want to get that going. And the only way you're going to get play action taken seriously is if you're able to make some things happen on the ground. And Javonte Williams, look, let's just hit the reset button here. It is remarkable that he was able to come back so quickly after the multi-ligament injury that he had last October in Las Vegas.
Preach.
Yeah. He has done a remarkable job just getting back. Unfortunately, the explosiveness on a consistent basis just has not been there for Javonte this year. Sometimes, look, it's actually kind of, I get sad watching him because right now he's not the same back. My hope is that a year from now, we're talking about him being back to where he was before the injury. But at this point right now, he's just not at that point.
He's not at that point. They're facing an incredible defense that's going to rush the passer, which leads me to more Samaje, because we know Samaje's sound in pass protection, and we know that Jaleel McLaughlin needs some work in that department.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Jaleel McLaughlin, you asked the question of offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi today about the 70% thing that we've been talking about for a few weeks now, that last 4 games, 70% of the time he's on the field, he's either being targeted or carrying the football. So what did you think of Joe Lombardi's answer to that query that you had today?
It was like the end of Anchorman when Vince Vaughn's character is like, I hate you, but damn it, I respect you. Because like, it's one of those, like, he answered it and I think he did a good job, but I don't know if he wants that type of question or they want that type of question to be out there, but we're talking about it. I wanted the answer. Sean Payton was in a bad mood. So I was like, let me ask Joe Lombardi. And they are aware of it, Mace. I don't know if this is the game where they can kind of get that right, unless maybe Jaleel's a decoy or something like that. Maybe.
I think the decoy thing is what you're talking about. Or the other possibility is if you just give Jaleel McLaughlin more opportunities and get him out there. But then the problem is you're running the risk in pass pro, right? And do you want Jaleel McLaughlin attempting to chip and help out Garrett Bowles on the edge going against Myles Garrett, who's got 13 sacks in 10 games right now? That's why it doesn't feel like this is the moment for Jaleel McLaughlin to get used more, to where you get that percentage in line or be utilized as a decoy, because, and again, it's not just Myles Garrett. I mean, Garrett's setting things up for other Browns in the front seven as well. It's a front seven that doesn't appear to have any holes when you look at this. And the efficiency numbers across the board in terms of third down, in terms of red zone, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that right now the Browns have been playing defense at a level not seen by a defense since the 2015 Broncos.
Right.
That's how good they are.
That's fair, and that's accurate.
Yeah. You're taking Denzel Ward out of it, and so that's going to change things a little bit. He does free you up to do a great many more things because he has been playing lockdown this year. But you haven't taken anything off of their pass rush. And that's actually, right. And that is where it starts. It's the rushing cover, but it starts from the rush. It starts from the fact that they can get pressure without having to blitz very often. That's another thing as well. Jim Schwartz has a lot more flexibility with what he can do on the back end because his guys are able to win one-on-one up front.
Why did Mike McGlinchey go Ric Flair? I forgot, Mace. We talked to so many guys. You got to set this up. We got to play the clip.
Yeah, this is a good clip. I mean, but this is also kind of about the Browns defense here, which is playing at the highest level and at the highest level in the NFL. This is unequivocally the best defense in football. And so you're not going to get a greater challenge than this for the Broncos offense. And that's why our friend Mike McGlinchey went all Ric Flair today, Nature Boy. Let's roll that.
Ric Flair always said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And if we can do that up front and we can have, answer the bell with this challenge, that'd be a great step forward for us. But we're just worried about improving. We got to get better. We got to do our job. We got to do the best things, possible to put our team in a position to win games.
Okay.
Mike McGlinchey walking on the field like that, right? You got to be the man. You got to beat the man. Yeah, there you go.
Should I do it? Woo!
Don't blow your vocal cords out, baby. Those are your golden pipes.
Yeah, I know, but I've been told that my voice has been a bit gravelly at times this week, especially earlier this week.
I thought you might have had some congestion when you came in the media room today, and I heard you talking. I was like, Mace sounds a little congested, so I hope your health is doing good, my friend.
I'm doing fine, but it was suggested to me by a friend that earlier this week, I think on the Monday show, I sound like I'd been at a concert the night before. Well, it was a big game, but I wasn't yelling and screaming and all that in the press box.
No cheering in the press box, Max.
Yeah, you don't do that. But Yeah, it's anyway. But
Coach
then
D.
let's go back to McGlinchey's thing real quick. What he said, because he did talk about the fact that it's got to be focused on what the Broncos are doing, right? Mm-hmm. That's key thing here. Not and this is how you avoid getting psyched out by what you see on film. You focus on what you're doing rather than what they're doing. You kind of accept that they're going to attack and they're going to make some plays on you. How do you minimize the damage? And honestly, I like if that's the approach, and it appears that's the approach from the Broncos, I like that, to kind of focus on themselves. There's plenty to work on there. There's plenty of ways in which they still need to get better on the offensive side. We just went out and went into the running game a little bit earlier on this show. Plenty of things they need to do. There's a lot on their plate, a Thanksgiving plate full of items that are self-focused, team-focused, rather than focusing on the opponent.
Right. And we got Mario here in the chat room says double tight end sets. You'll know this, Mace, but I want to reveal it to everyone. The third most used formation by the Broncos is actually 21 personnel, which is 2 backs because, of course, the fullback. So it seems like a 21, 22, 13 type of personnel type of day.
Yep. I think Michael Burton's going to get a lot of run on Sunday. It's going to be 21. I think we're going to see plenty of I formation. Very, very old school. The question, I mean, do we see a lot of 2 tight end and I formation with plays with only one receiver split out? That's the question. I think that is worth asking, because that may be what you have to do in this game, and maybe you have the flexibility to do it because Denzel Ward is not out there as well.
Right. So we know about Denzel Ward. Sean Payton didn't really tell us about PJ Locke, Mace. We got WNC Broncos fans. Any injury updates? I don't know.
He's not gonna tell you. Okay, that's it for the most part. Occasionally, he'll just turn on the fountain and let it go. Right. But in this case,
not today.
Not today. Not today.
No.
PJ Locke did practice. He was limited second straight day. Look, I mean, I think PJ said it best yesterday in the locker room when he was asked about it. He just said, "We'll see." Right? It's too early to tell.
Maybe a true game time decision.
This I think is going to be him testing it out pregame, seeing where he is. The other question I think you have to ask with PJ Locke is, you don't want to put him in a situation where it's going to cost him future games, right? Like, yes. If you play him Sunday and it means he can't play the next 3 games as Kareem Jackson serves his 4-game suspension, that's a problem. But very similar to Jerry Jeudy when he was coming off the hamstring injury. Remember, he tested it before the Raiders game and then was a no-go. Returned the following game and has played every game since. So do you ensure the next 3 games of PJ Locke and the rest of the season by holding him out for 1 more game? And that's what it may come down to here.
Mm-hmm. You asked Vance Joseph today about his thoughts on Delarian Turner-Yell. Mace, here's what the defensive coordinator for your Denver Broncos had to say.
He's played for us, Mike, this year, and every week he gets better. I mean, this kid's tough, he's smart, and he's ready for the challenge. And that's their role. And your hope as a coach, as the year goes along, those young kids are ready to play. In the late part of the season, you're going to have injuries. To step in and play 3 or 4 games for us, that's their job. Riley and those guys, and J.L. Skinner, and Turner-Yell. So if he has to play, he'll play well.
Okay.
You said Riley there too.
Yeah, because he was talking about all the guys in the defensive backfield that are young guys: J.L. Skinner, Delarian Turner-Yell, and Riley Moss. Now Moss has already become your dime back, right? He played there last week. He's starting to get some playing time. Would you agree with the assessment that Vance Joseph made that Delarian Turner-Yell is playing better from game to game?
No.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I would say it couldn't get worse than Miami.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did make a couple of nice plays against Chicago.
Chicago game, yes.
So those two starts, I thought he was much better in the second start than the first one. I thought against Buffalo, in terms of sort of reading plays as they develop and struggling in that regard, I thought there was a bit of regression from the tape. How about you?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And I think, especially for us and what we do, we just want to be fair about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think he's really good on special teams. I think defensively, I'd almost rather to see a Jail Skinner and Mace. We have the conversation about the rookie quarterback. And you and I both like DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We saw him at the Shrine Bowl, talked about him as a potential like developmental guy.
Yeah, weren't we talking about him? Broncos maybe get him on in the fifth round. I think, although he went in round 4, but we were talking about him and Aiden O'Connell all that week, right?
Right. We saw him there. By the way, I didn't remember this until I looked at my notes. We saw Tommy DeVito.
And this is why we go to the Shrine game.
So we know these guys when they come out, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
This year it's going to be in Frisco, Texas. It's going to be 3 fun-filled days of football action in Frisco.
Right. We're in Frisco. But Pat Surtain talked earlier this week about going against a young QB. Here's what the All-Pro corner had to say.
We know what he presents. Obviously, you want to put pressure on him, make him feel it early throughout the game. And, the main thing is making sure we're disguising on the back end and making sure that, when we go against quarterbacks like that, we play very sound and fundamental.
Now, Mace, they do every variation of the screen with the Browns. And watching DTR against the Steelers, they'll straight screen it. They'll fake a screen to the left, opposite play side to David Njoku. David Njoku is going to be a big target. They'll do flats. They do they run off the screen like a fake screen, reverse. DTR takes off to run. Every variation of that, and lots of slants for Amari Cooper. That's the number one route that he's running, and the number one route that he catches passes on. So lots of Cooper on short stuff, lots of David Njoku on short stuff, lots of running back screens on short stuff. Do you sense a trend here?
I do sense a trend, although the young quarterback situation is interesting because there are exceptions, but by and large, veteran quarterbacks tend to avoid corners of that level. We saw it back in the day with Champ Bailey. The last 3 games against Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, Buffalo and Josh Allen, and Minnesota and Josh Dobbs, Pat Surtain has been targeted 5 times, 3 times, and 5 times. The game that he was targeted most, that was Chicago. Justin Fields, a quarterback who's still learning his way. The second most times, it's interesting because one was Green Bay, Jordan Love, another quarterback who's in his first year as a starter. But then also Miami and Tua Tagovailoa, and Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes the first time at Arrowhead also targeted Surtain twice. But by and large, you see a pattern where most often when you have a QB throwing at Surtain, it's a younger one that hasn't really kind of learned to adjust. I mean, we know how back in the day, Champ Bailey would feast off young corners because he knew they would still throw in his direction. I think this is the key for the Browns here, game planning wise. If they keep it to the short stuff, like you said, then that's a way of taking Pat Surtain out. And I think that's a way of making sure that Dorian Thompson-Robinson doesn't run that risk. So this might be a game where if the Browns are in 3rd and 10, you see a 3-yard dump off. There may be some of that. They may play the field position game to try to avoid the big mistake, because the way the Broncos have forced turnovers in the last few games, job one for Cleveland is going to be protecting that football. That's where the Broncos want to win this game. Get a takeaway, get a short field, capitalize, get some points. Cleveland knows what they have to do. The question is, with a rookie like DTR, can the Browns do it?
And to put their defense back on the field, it's going to be a fun one. Yeah, that's for sure.
This is going to be an old school game, and I kind of like an old school game. It's here we are. It's Thanksgiving weekend. You look outside, the snow is falling in Denver. It's chilly. You're gonna see the steam rising up from everyone's breaths on every snap. It's gonna kind of maybe be a little bit of mud, but maybe not too much because that field was just installed and it looks glorious there. So, but
yeah,
it's gonna have some old school feel to it. So let's have some fun.
We're both old school because they told us to take Friday off, and we both. I think on Monday we're like, we'll probably do a show on Friday. So up here.
It's good to be in touch with the audience. It's good to commune with the audience, right? We're thankful for you, and we are. One of the ways we show we're thankful for you is today we're doing a show, and it's Black Friday, and we're both wearing black.
There you go. We're twinsies. Anyway, he's Andrew Mason.
Except I don't have a necklace.
Maybe I should get you one for Christmas. I don't think you'd wear one though, right? You said you're not a necklace guy.
It's gotta be a certain specific type of necklace. I appreciate the offer, but a necklace may come my way at some point. We'll see. But
okay.
that may happen another way.
All right. A Mr. T starter kit right here. Anyway. That's a wrap for today's program. He's Mace at Mace Denver on all the socials. I'm at Cecil Lammy. Appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for watching. Do the YouTube things. And we did have a question about our start time. For 2023, we're still 3:30. That may adjust in the new year. We're going to see when our audience watches the most, and we have to be flexible with the Broncos schedule. So it's 3:30 for now, and it might be changing because I think 4 might be better.
Yeah. And today was kind of a moving target today because of how things went. So,
and it's a free show, so we're like, let's get it.
We can do it whenever we want today. Yeah,
right, exactly. So
like extra innings, free baseball. It's a free show.
Exactly. There you go. He's Mace. I'm Cease. OBT is BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?